There's a whole family of them that go with him. But anyway, what happened by August 1st, now I don't know if any of the people from the Bermuda trip were here or if they felt it, but on August 1st, the Iani buddies went home. Because on August 1st, the other guys realized, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And they asked for a truce. Now, we don't want a peace treaty. We just want a ceasefire. Okay, we'll stop firing at you and you'll help us, right? Yeah. Yeah. But guardians, I mean, you know, if there's any possibility to ease suffering, to help heal something in a way that, you know, that's good for everybody, they will help. They're neutral, like Switzerland. They're not going to take it, you know, they're not going to take a stand on which side between the negative ones are going to take over the grids. You know, they're both acting in anti-Christos ways, but when you're in a full Christos stance, you don't need to take a hand against anybody. You just watch them self-destruct trying to do something to you. But you still have compassion and love in your heart for them. And from that, if there's something that can be done, you would do it. It also is something that would benefit this system as well, and, you know, and the guardian races. So there's an alteration to this. They won't give me the percentage on chances of success. Which is why that on May 27th, when this comes into our planet, the flaming blue sword comes in, and the Amareya arcs, those green things that were going to be coming down from our guy's side, they come in. There's going to be something else coming in that's called the Eros arc. Now, if you remember the Eros field in our own radial body, that's that polarized field of the D5, D7 current, that if you depolarize, it turns back into D12 current. So it can, like, it creates the silver sanctum bubble in the field. Well, they're going to attempt to activate the silver sanctum on the universal level, which means it'll go on the planetary level, it'll go all the way down. This is why they need us to activate flame bodies, so we can help to anchor the silver sanctum frequencies, because you need an anchoring rod for it, and at this point the planetary grids won't hold it very well. So it's going to be successful. But if it wasn't successful, we would have from May 27th to the 9th of August to evacuate. And they're serious this time. That's not a very long time to get a lot of people where they can hold at least a momentary full 12-strand activation so they can pop through a gate. Where we'd be evacuated to would be up through here, through the Amareya path, which would be the 3, 6, 9, and right into the temple of Kamelotai at that point, because you couldn't even get through here. They couldn't open that gate at that point, or it would let the flame and blue sword go all the way up through the Templar. So it's going to be successful, the work that's going to be done. We're doing the little part. All we need to do is be a bit aware of what's going on, and aware that we can make a difference by helping the planetary grids to hold and anchor and to hold that frequency that's going to be the support frequency. Now, what the project will do is kind of neat. Let me see, next one, not that one yet. No. Yeah. That one. How am I doing on time? Ooh, not bad. A little bit bigger arcs happening here. The green ones are Amareya. Now, there's a thing, if I can remember the word in Anahazi, that on the 27th of May, beginning at 11:11 p.m., there is going to be something called let me see, remember the pronunciation, the Hitaro. The Hitaro. What that means is the Great Silence. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to be quiet on Earth. What it means, it actually is a word that's used to describe, and I got the technicals on it down. We just got it into the computer, and I'm like looking at it cross-eyed, trying to see how I'm going to break it down where I could like actually get it in print for, you know, to pass out to anybody. But what this great silence is about is, if you have a reverse current, it's a phenomena of physics, interdimensional physics. If you have a reverse current and you hit it at 45-degree angles with a strong enough positive current, like the good side current, base 12 current, it will split. There'll be a moment where actually nothing happens. That's the moment of great silence, where there's actually a stasis that happens. Nothing moves. Then it splits the reverse current, and it shoots it out at a different angle than it was coming in. So up here, they can use, if they activate their full Templar of the inner Eka stargates, they can generate enough current to move through their gates and come down when the blue flame, or not blue flame, the blue sword frequencies start to come through the 666 gate. They will impact it at 45-degree angles. What that will do is split it. And instead of the blue sword coming down this way and over this way, you'll have one shoots up that way, one this way, one comes down this way, and one comes right down that way into the lock, where wormwood is going to be coming up, because wormwood gets pulled up through that gate when that blue sword comes in. There's a whole bunch of them out there that have been training their people in the New Age movement to herald the great coming of the fourth battle of Armageddon that's due to happen in May, because they knew this was supposed to come in and what it was supposed to do. They're a little confused right now because they're not quite sure what they're going to do about the problem. Because some of them want to, have said, all right, we're part of the treaty, the truce or whatever it is, just like, fine, we goofed. The other part is like, till death, we'll fight to the death. So there's going to be splitting in a lot of the movements as well, depending on which side of the truce they went on, whether they accept it or not. But what this will do, talk about brain surgery, these have to hit at exactly the right moment, at exactly the right angle, at exactly the right strength of power, which the guardian races, the Yanni races, are capable of doing. And with the cooperation all the way up to the Akasha Aya level, that's where they're going to get the power, the frequency to do it. They'll be able to use all of that to hit it, to create that moment of great silence where it all stops, and then the blue sword breaks into 4, which makes it like it's shifted axis. It actually just has, it's still a cross shape, but it comes down, it doesn't run down our main pillars. But what will run down our main pillars first is what's called, it's not just the Amaraya frequency, it's the Amaraya frequency combined with an extra kick of the Eros frequency. On the Eros frequency, a full D12 frequency can be run down to create total support in this system, but it's all dependent on that angle shifting just right, to go through that lock just right, to hit the wormwood. Now, if that happens, these arcs will, at the same time, very quickly come in and stabilize. Like this will be much stronger. The Brid Zone thing will be much stronger. It will hold the Merkaba in this system straight. And there may be some interesting phenomena happening over by Jupiter, because on that projectile, Jupiter is going to be, the Jupiter gate, the galactic gate, is going to be in the line of fire. What's good about this project, this attempted project as well, is that when this current splits, when the blue sword current is a photosonic current, which means it is a light and sound current when it comes in naturally. That is the strongest type. Photosonics are the stronger ones. Now, when it splits, it turns the photosonic current into weaker currents that are photoradionic only. They're just light currents. They don't pack as much wallop as the sound light currents do. So the impact on whatever it hits won't be as much. Our guys are going to try to use the arc that will be here to stabilize Jupiter as well. So it doesn't, because if they happen to blow up Jupiter, it's going to cause a mess. We're going to go into pole shift, and it's going to be a mess anyway. Now, I'm very glad that all we need to do is show up, basically, and get it enough to have enough frequency to help anchor it. It's going to happen whether or not we want to participate, is what it comes down to. If we participate, it's not like scoring points. As if you want to help, you help. If you don't want to help, don't. But at least be smart enough to have your own flame body activated, because when these frequencies start to fly on this planet, it's not going to be fun. What is going to create the Ire current, the Eros current that's going to come down, what it is going to do is create a gentle, natural split between the Metatronic. It's going to split the Metatronic bond. So those parts of the grids that have 31 to 51% of divine blueprint left that are caught in stasis, that will actually come through and split them, where the Metatronic ones that you can't pull up will go full Metatronic, and they will bond to the stuff that's less than 30%. And that's the stuff that is going to fall. It is going to go into the black hole. But the black hole is not going to implode as long as that red pulse and all of that stuff don't happen. The red pulse won't happen if wormwood has gotten out of the way. So it's all together. Now, the other part of the planetary grids, of that 31 to 51%, that has the divine blueprint, will bond into the rest of the 51.5% and higher of the planetary grids that are going into the Brid Zone. So it will literally be, part of it's going to fall, part of it's going to go up. This is literally a splitting of the radio body, the planetary radio body, that is already partially split by the reversals. It is a plan that it's kind of interesting. I'll show you what it looks like first. The one more map I want to show you. What it looks like on the planetary level is this one. Yeah, let me show them that. Yes?
Could you give us kind of an approximate spelling of Tharo?
Okay, it's He, capital E, for the E sound, dash THAR, small a, and then dash O. Yeah, Hitaro. That was a new word for me, too. You know? Now, the original Amarea Arc project, which is still going to occur, by the way, the original mother arcs are coming in, which were all these white ones. These were the first maps. I won't even try to dissect everything on this map for you. I'll just give you the idea. Now, somewhere under all of this, there's America, right? There's South America here. Here's Africa. Here's like England is up in here. Here's Rome. Here's Greece. You know, here's like the rest of Europe and China and all of that. So this is a map of our planet. There's this whole sequence, and you've got this map in your book. So the sequence is written out, like where the mother arcs are going. The one part that's not written out on yours is this new addition to the plan that has to do with anchoring this Eros, this main Eros pillar. That is the only way they're going to be able to stop Wormwood from coming up at this point. So these arcs these are called the mother arcs. There's mother arcs and daughter arcs, and they call them mother and daughter because these particular ones, they're an Amarea frequency, which is a Manu frequency, but they're a base Irae frequency because we're in the Particum universe. All right, in the parallel universe, the other part of the Amarea arcs are coming down in the parallel Earth grids, and they would have the base Manae. They would be the father arcs. So the mother arcs are coming in this side, and the father arcs over in parallel, and together they will hold whatever and anything in the grids that can bond to their frequency will hold the shields up, the parts that aren't Metatronic. Now the new addition, and this is let's see if I can describe this. We start over here at what's called Q Site 7, which is Paxos, Greece. Okay? It starts there. It anchors there. But there's a bunch of things that had to be done first. Here's where the question about what did we do in Sedona comes in. Over here in the area, over here on the map, this map is also in Voyagers without all the arcs all over it, so you can actually see what's under it. It's the ley line, an axiotonal map. There's something called a natural planetary seal. There's 12 of them. It's planetary seal number 12, which runs the D12 frequency. That is located a bit southwest of Tucson, Arizona, and it's connected in with Phoenix, Arizona, and with the Sedona vortices and all of that. What we did in Sedona, we knew they asked us to open a portal that was, to assist in anchoring the arcs, but we didn't have any of the details on it, so okay, we'll run the codes. They just had us a very quiet little gathering because it was not a space to become an eyesore to the neighbors, let's say. And we very quietly did, a grid activation. Very peaceful, no problem. What we did was we opened the portal that connects to this seal, the natural 12 seal. What I didn't even realize when we were in Sedona, or in Phoenix, was that right in the book, it was already published, that seal was due to open between August and September of 2002. It was activating, and it's like there's so much detail in this stuff. The last thing I worry about right now is what seal's opening on what day. There's too much other stuff to keep track of that's more important. But the seal was opening in that, it was going through the end of its opening cycle in that period. And we opened a natural connecting link portal that was in the Sedona area, and actually another one that linked down through into Phoenix that actually created kind of like a circulation of energy, got the vortices going. Through this, we put in what are called the security release codes, which all of the seals and all of the natural things in the planetary Templar have security seals, which are specific mathematics that are put into them. So only humans or indigos on the planet can actually fully access them. And what we did was simply run, the DNA codes in to put the security release seals on and open the particular vortices and portals there. Now, what this is going to do, and I just love this, what it's going to do. This is going to be where a big pillar comes down, all right? A big pillar of Eros frequency anchors. But it doesn't start there. That's kind of like almost the finishing point, not quite. It starts over here through gate Q Site 7, which is the inner Eka Stargate 7. All right, it's going to come up in Paxos from Q7. It's going to do two things. It's going to go in two directions. It's coming up at Q7 And from there, we're going to send security codes over. So there's another one coming up at Q5. This is Eros frequency, all right? These are Amarea frequency. These are Eros frequency. This one's going to go Q7 over to Peru, Stargate 7. From there, it's going to go up to Q4. Now remember, the 4, 7, 10 line on the Cathara grid, okay? This one's following that. It's going to go up to QSite 4 in Aguascalientes, Mexico. Then it's going to go over to Stargate 4, Planetary Stargate 4, Giza. And they're not going to be happy about this one. Going over to Giza, and from Giza, it picks up the horizontals, which are the ley lines, the main ley line system that's called the Giza line that runs over this way. Now, this is what we were doing in Bermuda that we didn't know. We were preparing it just in case this occurred, if this option was needed, because this was known, from ancient days, that this was the override, all holds barred, it's in real trouble, like last thing you can do to fix it thing. The Bermuda Gate 3, Stargate 3. So it actually runs through Gate 3, and it runs through all the way over to Seal 12. That's the receiving point. Now this is the one that came off Q7. Now right here, these little reddish blobs that are underneath the green line, these are the Phoenix and the Falcon wormholes that they have been activating in the grids since it has to do with what's called the Phi-X wormhole network that started in Atlantis. The Philadelphia experiment in 1943 was the beginning of the Zetas opening part of those wormholes, and they opened both of them over the last few years. There's been some fights about who's our guys tried to cap them, they blew them open again, back and forth. It's all done with sonics. All right, it's like it's called infrasound, and some of them are so low frequencies that you just can't perceive them on the instrument scales that we measure here, and some of them are so high frequencies you can't. So the wormholes are going to be capped there, which is that's really good, all right, as far as how much damage is going to be done on this planet during all these transitions, because those wormholes were progressively, they were some of the main anchoring spots for the Blue Sword current to run. Now the other one, I love this, the other one, at the same time we're doing our thing in Greece, the other ones automatically, they're 5 temple, remember 7 and 5, that's the Eros currents. They make the 12 when you put them together. So they're depolarizing them, so they actually blend when they're in the grids. QSite 5 activates, which is the Inner Echo Stargate 5. That is at Rome, at the Vatican. And that's going to run its frequency from Q5 to Stargate 5, Machu Picchu, Peru, okay, to 5, to the next one down. Now think of the middle pillar, right? It goes from 5 to 2, right? So it's going to go from the 5s to QSite 2, Easter Island. Ha ha ha. Sarasota might get saved. Up to Stargate 2, the Gruol point in Sarasota, Florida. From there, it's going to arc up and meet the other one at the Seal 12. When that occurs, it'll open this entire vortex area to receive literally a stabilizing pillar of the Eros frequency, as well as the other arcs that are coming through, which these are the Amarea arcs coming through, and these are the little baby arcs that are coming through in the North American continent, the black lines. From there, after it blends and opens here, it's going to go out to QSite 12, which is in Kauai, Hawaii, and from there, it'll follow its natural course over to Stargate 12, Montsegur, France. And once it does that, it's fully into our Templar, where it simply begins to work through all of the gate system on the natural pulse. What this means is it's going to be separating the grids that are the grids that can be saved from the grids that can't be saved. This is going to be very strange. I mean, I can hardly wait to see what this is going to look like. It goes in 6 stages. 2 stages happen in 2003. The first stage of separation begins with the anchoring of all of this on the 27th of May, 2003. The next stage begins with August 12th, which has been historically known as the magnetic peak point, which means it's a point when the planetary magnetic Merkaba speeds up to its fastest spin in its natural cycle, so it amplifies the heck out of whatever you put into it. These guys have been waiting for 2003 because there's a peak that happens every 20 years and every 100 years, and I think there was one after that, but it's like a point where 3 of these peaks line up, so it is like one heck of a kick in the Merkaba for the planet, and it was like due for that. they've been planning all this. The Philadelphia experiment was done in August of 1943 at a peak period. 20 years later, or they skipped one, and they did the 1983. They did the Montauk Project, and they were waiting for this one. This was the last one where they were going to set the rest of all of this in motion. So, anyway, on the second stage of the separation of the shields begins on August 12th of 2003. The third stage is August 12th of 2004, which is another peak, but it's not, the big one. But there's, it still amplifies. Every time we hit that peak point, which is like the peak of the peak is about August 12th. It actually runs a little bit before that and a little bit after, but it's usually right about the 12th where it peaks. The third stage is 2004. The fourth stage is 2005. The fifth stage is 2006. And then the last stage, now in 2006, the grids are actually completely separated. But the Eros capsule of frequency, just like we generated one in our own fields, that will be literally not just around our planet. The planet will have one in its radio body, but so will the universal grid have one. That will hold the two fields together until the natural point where the divine blueprint was scheduled to be reset ever since Atlantis, which is December 21st, 2012. And even the Mayans knew that. That's what that date was about. The end time, when time stops. Yeah. So, this is the project as it's moving forward. And the flame body activations are, A, most important to you, protection for you. B, they give you an opportunity that if you want to, you can participate. Because nobody's going to run flame frequency through if you don't want it. If you don't want to be part of the ARC project, you don't have to be. But at least you'll be safe from the frequencies that are going to run through. Now, it also poses some interesting challenges. Because if you look at, I'll put this last one up, please. All right, this is showing it on the map, our Vecca map. Remember, this is our universal 12 Stargate system. That's our our light field. That's our parallel 12-dimensional system. That's the parallel light field. This is the phantom axis coming in. This is the Wissadek axis coming in. This is supposed to be our natural axis right here. This is actually the axis that we need to get to make the bridge zone link. That is the pillar that's coming in from the higher levels of the step-down creation of the Akasha. I think it's coming in from the Akasha Aya level. We need to link our axis into that. If we look at this right now, this is the stuff I was just getting. That's why I scribbled in pencil, because I didn't have even a marker with me when you were on break. I was getting this part where, as far as the radio bodies go, the planetary radio bodies, right now there's a part of the planetary radio body that's here. It's already on the reverse axis of phantom matrix. There's a part of our radio body that's still on its normal axis. This is 2/3. This is 1/3. All right. Now, what has to happen first for it to make the bridge zone link at all is the axis of the one that's reversed needs to come back a little bit. So there's going to be a shift. This is Merkaba axis of the planet that's going to shift. Now, the degree of Merkaba axis is more than the degree of, say, planetary pole shift that would happen. They're not saying that there's going to be a pole shift, run for cover, but the Merkaba axis needs to be shifted on the planet first to get this one back into alignment with this. And I think at this point, both are going to shift a little bit over toward each other. So you're going to watch, let's say, the Metatronically minded people and the not Metatronically minded people have some very interesting experiences. They're going to come together. And that's when the clash times are going to be starting to move through the mass drama. There's a whole external drama that the Illuminati have had planned with the Wissadeks literally since Atlantis of how it would unfold. Now, what will happen as we progress through these 6 stages is the part of the grids that are in the part of the radio body that are holding the Christos frequency, enough Christos frequency to make the bridge zone shift, are going to end up shifting out into the bridge zone axis, while this one, the ones that can't go, that are Metatronic, are going to shift down into the Wissadek axis. There's not going to be a phantom axis anymore, because literally phantom is going to shift back. So we're going to find out what it looks like to be on a planet when the radio body is splitting. And the only other option is for everybody to fall down a black hole, and that's even worse, because that would allow that same virus to spread all through other systems. So, this is how much we know right now. We know that we have the solution on a personal level. What needs to be done right now is to simply work with the techniques you have. The techniques aren't that hard. I mean, some of them are hard to go through, but you don't have to do them a lot at this point. Now, if it comes to a point where it's not successful in May, they will let us know. They said we will know by dawn that morning. So it'll be the dawn on the 28th of May. We will know whether or not the blue sword actually hit Wormwood and took it out while it was in the lock before it comes up into our system. That is what's needed. If that doesn't happen, there will be more emergency release information, because it will be at that point preparation for evac to the inner Earth gates for those who can make it. And for those who can't make it physically, it will be preparation for whenever one's natural time comes, how to do that well. And get your consciousness out in one piece where you're still conscious and you can go where you want to instead of where somebody else is trying to force you. So hopefully we don't have to go that route. But meanwhile, there's things, I would love to be able to tell you what this is going to look like, play by play. I do know that the agenda originally, and I do believe still does, involve the United Intruder Resistance Group fighting with the Omicron Draconian group that are resisting them. Both of them are from Weesadek. They're still fighting over grids. At this rate, they're still going to get grids, right? They're not going to blow up, and part of this template is going to fall one way or another. So they still have something to fight over. It's like after that point, I don't even really know what to say to people other than if you watch weird stuff go down politically and you start to see things get really strange out here in the next couple of years, well, first of all, know, that definitely means that we're still in the game. Good. All right? It's actually a better sign. The bad side would be whatever they're going to do to let us know, uh-oh, missed. Right? That's not going to happen. They're not going to miss. This is very well calibrated. These plans were set in ancient times. They knew how this stuff worked. So the theory of how to solve this problem existed with the theory of how to create the problem in the first place. So the chances of it being successful are very good. And it just really depends on, they're going to ask indigos and humans that want to participate in helping to anchor the arcs. They haven't told me what yet, what's going to be asked, but for May 27th, between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. on the next morning, we're going to be asked to do something collectively, some kind of meditation type thing, wherever we are on the planet. And there's a group of us going literally to Paxos. We're going to be sitting up on an island all night that night in the sea with like an island that no people live on. And there's no lights and this ought to be a really interesting experience. We're not going there to sleep. We're going there to watch what happens and to hold frequency, because Paxos, Greece is QSAT 7. So that's where the main activation of the Eros frequencies are coming up in the planetary grids between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. So, well, that's the big stuff. Now I'll tell the hands go up. Oh my God! Right now, let me think for one moment. There is the history here, but honestly, I don't want to spend time on it with you guys because I don't think I need to bore you to death. I will put it up just to show you what these look like, and I'm not going to describe them. If people who are new are interested in hearing about this history, it is elaborated upon more so in Voyagers Volume 2, Second Edition. We'll start with, I think we'll type Leviathan first. Yeah. Basically, there's two charts that sum it up really quick. Creation of the Leviathan force and related history. That's literally just the seedings on Earth and what has happened here. How the Illuminati race lines, the hybrid race lines, got it here in the first place. That's just an assessment of it. These are the series of events and the time frames that they took place on. These are all elaborated on in the Voyagers material. And there's also another book that we get held up on production of. It's called The Forbidden Testaments of Revelation. That is literally are the history books that fill out, they're not just like little summaries, but they actually do the play-by-play history of all these events. And this is just in our seeding 3, most of them. Seeding 3 started right there, Angelic Human Seeding 3, so there's a little couple of things that happened before. All right, now that goes into the next set of history that gets really fascinating, because here's where we find little bits and pieces of it remain in our legends and all sorts of things. It's called, down. progression of the Atlantean conspiracy. The Atlantean conspiracy was literally the agenda for all of this to go down that was set in the Atlantean times. And there have been a series of events all the way up. Our race has been subjected to something called transposition of race identity, which means progressive, slow, over time, hybridizing, forced hybridizing with race groups to literally dilute their gene code to the point where they were more like you than what they were originally. This has been going on, so we wouldn't have the power in our gene code left to run the Templar or to do anything about this by the time it came. But the Guardian races have worked very hard to keep the Christ-Jig Grail lines alive here, and they have. So we're all still in the game. But literally, all of these events, there's huge history. Some of these are elaborated on pretty decently in the Voyagers Volume 2 second edition book. Now, when we get up here, I think there's a couple more I wanted. Yeah. Now, this left off. Right? This is what we were tracking up to the War Edict. All right. Treaty of Altair was an attempt to get the Palladian-Syrian agreements back on track. It failed. They broke it again. They entered a treaty and they said, "Now forget it. We're going to do war instead." Then September 12th is when the War Edict was issued and the United Resistance was formed. United Intruder Resistance was formed. This is when they began February of 2001, they began a grid spiking campaign. This has to do with, if you want to know about these, they're explained in the Voyagers Volume 2 second edition, but they're the Atlantean Pylon Implant Network Systems. They're a whole series of like microchip crystalline implants all through the planetary grids here that were put in the Atlantean times. The original ones were put in by Guardian races to hold the grids up. They were neutralized by the progressive invading races, and there was a whole set of negative ones that were keyed to the black holes and to the wormholes that are off the coast of South Carolina and Florida. All right, so this whole Phi-X wormhole system is all tied up into this Philadelphia experiment, Montauk Project. All that was all part of this agenda. They didn't just happen to happen. As like you read books about them and stuff. Even most of the people involved with them didn't know what it was really about. There's only a few. And there's a couple of them that are involved with some of those. They're not even human anymore. All right, they're walking around in human bodies. And they know what they are. And they're big, dark avatars from the other side. They're what they call magentas, which is a particular, it's in the books. You can read it at some point if you want to. It's like if you continue reading that area that I was reading about, the fall with Metatron in it. It talks about the crimson clue in the auric field, about how to tell one of these guys, like who's really a full body snatch job, and when you're really dealing with a fully embodied Weesadek. Their Grail line, which is a hijack of the indigo lines here that have the higher strand content, are called the magentas. And it's because they have a particularly very intense magenta reddish violet flame in the field, and that's kind of explained. It's worth reading through some of like the little print in the book you have, because there's little snatches of information that fill in blanks like that. But anyway, the grid spiking campaign led to the need to activate the certain implants that have long been in certain areas over here. One of those major implant systems that connects to the Phi-X wormhole system was in New York City, and it was where the trade towers were built. And another one was in the Pentagon. Another one was in Philadelphia. And that's actually where they were trying to send the third plane. And when the third plane didn't make it, they had to not send that pulse, because it would have looked really funny if a building blew up for no apparent reason. Those towers would have come down if those planes didn't hit them. And I mean, it was kind of funny to watch how that almost slipped out, because there were people, structural engineers, all sorts of people saying, wait a minute. How did they crumble after the fact like that? Structurally, that shouldn't have been able to happen. So then everybody's running around trying to figure out how to cover that one up. So you have like all sorts of stuff going on the internet about that kind of thing. No, they wouldn't have collapsed if it were just the planes. It was sonic pulse that was used. In the Voyagers book, we give you a little history on how they've been using that to mess with weather patterns, how Hurricane Andrew in Florida had been created through such sonic pulse, and a bunch of other things. So this is very real and in our face, as well as, out there and big. It's also something that we're walking around in the middle of. And I really think the best advice that one can have is to take care of your own flame, and to, that saying, to walk softly and carry to speak softly and carry your big stick? Speak softly and carry a big flame. There's not going to be a lot of people that are going to want to hear what you have to say about this. In fact, if there's people that are actually on the Metatronic path, they're not going to want to hear anything you have to say, and they're probably going to be, at least field-wise, very aggressive to you, and it might be somebody who was your best friend before. This will get particularly worse after May 27th, because they are going to do a wave of their body snatch magentas. So you're going to see the same face of a person you thought you knew, and same personality, sort of. Look in the eye will be a little different every once in a while, because they always slip just a little. And it will literally be a dancer in there, because they're going in for a body snatch wave for over 20 million people on that day. Yeah. They need to get their little bodies here so they can fight their war here, so when the parts of the grids that go down, the decision will already be made. Does it go to the DRAC side, or does it go to the URI side? So this is what we're looking forward to. If we can hold a presence of peace and understanding that there's a huge cosmic level healing going on here, or at least universal level, and sometimes healing can look painful, but it isn't a bad thing. It could be a lot worse. Wormwood could be coming in, there could be nothing you could do about it, for instance. We could be already fallen. We could be the ones in the Wisadek matrix, but we're not. So that's really a good thing. Your hands all over the place. Here we go. Wait a minute. Let me see how much longer we have before I do quick. Oh, we're actually doing really good. All right. Before I answer one hand, because I know it helps, and we very rarely have time for this. This time we actually do. But I need to take about a 5-minute break because I've been and my throat's getting dry. And if you want to, you can, or if you can just sit and wait if you want to, whatever. But take a little bit of a break, and then we'll do question and answer period. And then there's just a little bit of something called the Song of Kamalohati that we would like to introduce to the new people, which is another one that activates stuff in your shields. So about 5 minutes, which usually ends up as 10. So we'll be back. Huh? Bon voyage cake. Thank you. Hello, hello. Boy, we're doing Guardian time again. That's the longest 15 minutes I've seen in ages. 5 minutes. I think it started a bit. That's all right. I would like to thank everybody who contributed to the cake for all of us. Thank you very much. It was a very sweet thought, and I'm glad we had some time to enjoy that. Everybody seems to be enjoying the cake and stuff. So I'd like to thank you guys who put that together and you guys who helped put that together.
I don't got no sound at all.
Well, we're in the last leg. What I didn't want to do was send you
Plugged in?
No.
I unplugged because of the sound.
Well, you were getting sound. Plug it in quick, hurry up. Plug it in quick.
No better. Uh-oh. Was that you, Scotty?
I'm not getting any sound.
No, I guess you're part of this.
That you or me? All right, now, there's a couple more things that we need to talk about. One of the things I want to re-emphasize and bring back in focus. The positive aspects of what is going on now and the teachings that we're being given and entrusted with. We're not being, we don't have a cross larger than we can bear here. It may seem like a big drama, but the truth is, the only thing that can seem scary is that we forgot how big we are as beings. If we can remember that now, this is like, if you had all of your avatar memory banks back, it would be interesting to see how many of us had, how many times did we do this and succeed in other places, this type of thing. All right? We're not alone in this by far, and it will go well. The thing is, even if it goes in whatever system, if something goes really terrible, terrible wrong, and it's like the worst case scenario, there is one final solace in all things. Nothing can ever be outside of God, and everything goes home to God, one way or the other. Nothing is lost. This is why the intelligence, the being, the huge, massive, undefinable force source that is the one creator that we're all a part of and all faces of. The reason why creator doesn't feel fear, doesn't even particularly feel a sense of mourning, because creator recognizes that nothing is ever lost. Now there might be a sense of regret that, well, those parts of myself, the new individuation, I learned some very interesting things about what could, about a reality in my creation of joy I never realized could exist. But those beings, though they might not remember going home, still they go back into being part of the body of God. A particle unit or a grain of sand is just as sacred and blessed, just as conscious in its own way and aware as a big being is. So Creator has peace with the ebb and flow of the cosmic tide, with the pendulum swinging sometimes very far into what appears when you're in the hologram to be the negative. Source knows it will always rebalance and swing back, because literally the holographic matrix was designed to do that. And nothing is ever lost. Source will not lose pieces of itself. They will stay in the matrix until they re-evolve into some other type of form, into some other type of experience. But that evolution can't happen while they're stuck in a black hole. It's like being stuck in stasis where you can't go either way. You're just stuck. And there is a mercy at the end of black hole type existences too. When they do go back, they get their purification literally by fire, not by having their flame bodies activated either. They get it by literally going back into your interspace-descent consciousness. But through that process, no matter how twisted they have become, they do get purified and reintegrated back into the Christos template that they originally fell from. Now here, it might take billions and billions of years for something, a healing like that to happen. That's being perceived from Earth time. To Creator, it's just a blink of an eye from the time when one cycle ends or something appears to be dead and gone, and it reappears again in another form. Life is perpetual and eternal, one way or the other. It just depends your path of ascension or descension. Both of them will get you back home. It just depends what your preference is. Source better for preference. Source would much rather have each of us be able to experience the path of joy as opposed to the path of sorrow. But Source also respects each part of itself. And if it chooses to experience and learn through the path of sorrow, it will respect that. We'll try to intervene and assist whenever possible. But sometimes that assistance, there's a lesson on the other side. You can love something so much that you hold on to it so tight that it just gets more angry and more angry and more angry with you. And you're not helping in the healing at that point. You need to trust beings, even the fallen ones, to make their choices in their own world in a way that will get them where they need to be. Now, we also need to respect ourselves enough that if we don't want to be the type of beings that go around vampiring energy off other systems and causing terrible harm to other beings who are trying to be nice, we don't have to be like that. But they're choosing to be like that. And because it's a free will matrix, and the ability to have joy requires it to be a free will matrix, or it would be just a dictatorship, which it isn't. If we can realize that in what appears to be sorrow on the outside, there is actually a joy waiting on the other side of it, on the inside, in one form or another. But sometimes we need to get all the way back up the stairway to heaven and expand all the way back up into the full consciousness that is ours as an ascended master, or as complete at one with Source, before we can understand fully what a certain thing was and where the joy in it was. There is a silver lining to every cloud, but sometimes you have to go all the way home before you can see it. But Source sees it. So in the vision that could be frightening, we have a choice to make. The only part of us that would be frightened right now is the shadow body. That part of you, it might be 2/3 of your energy alone, that's going to change quickly if you work with these frequencies. The shadow body is like a child that was abused and led astray. It's frightened, it feels like the world has been attacking it because it has been being attacked. It has been being attacked by the dancers. And the shadow body is a part of us that needs to heal, and we need to baby it a little bit. But not let it push us around either, because it will try, because it learns some bad manners from hanging out with shadow dancers. So, if there's one thing that, even if we weren't in a time of, let's say, great challenge, even if it was just, oh, hunky-dory and everything's going smoothly, if we wanted to go up that stairway to heaven, it's not going to change the fact that we still have to reteach ourselves how to have mental body control. What we choose how we choose to look at something, how we choose to define it for ourselves, will define how the whole being experiences it, and will have a huge contribution as to how it's actually manifests in the physical. We can say, oh, this is a terrible thing, oh dear, oh no, oh how can we ever read this? Oh, they probably are going to miss it, and more one's going to keep coming out. The whole bit, this is the shadow body chatter. It will probably do that. Every one of you have, right now, every one of us, everyone on the planet actually that really tried, has the ability to use the conscious mind and say, all right, hold on a minute, I got that. That is a way to look at something that's going to cause me pain, it's going to stop my growth, and it's going to harm the planet as well. Because if you can keep yourself in a positive thought space while confronted with seemingly negative situations, you are holding your power and your mastery, and you can help be a calming, loving influence on others around you if the things go, strange. If America ends up in a war or something like that, and it gets all scary just even politically here, that would be a big surprise for Americans, because Americans have been very sheltered in a way. The closest we got was Pearl Harbor to having things dropped on our heads and cities exploded. Even in like Britain, London was flattened, in the war. So in America, we carry an innocence and a naivety of consciousness, which can be good in one way, but it can also be self-defeating, because we get totally freaked out if something that seems negative happens. Where other people that have rolled with the tides, let's say, of sometimes things feel yucky and you learn how to handle yourself in it and you move on and you keep a positive attitude and enjoy the life you have with the parts that are good even more. Hold on to the more energized goals, not the negative. We haven't learned a lot of those mental body survival skills because we've been pampered. It's time to remind ourselves now that every time we think something's negative, we're missing the whole big piece that's positive. And we can give ourselves the mental command that I'm going to think about something else right now. I'm not going to let the shadow patterns drag me around. That doesn't mean repress your emotions. Sometimes you might need to cry. Do it in a way that doesn't harm you or anybody else. Go get a pillow. Go in your bedroom and hug it and cry. Or beat it up if you need to, if it comes out in anger. Because there's an anger that's associated with this, an ancient anger, by beings who have been hurt and harmed and allowed themselves to experience victimization, just so they could stay on this planet long enough to be here to help with this healing. There will be some anger that comes out for some people when the shadow starts to heal. There will be some hurt and pain, and there will be fear. But if you can recognize all of those seemingly negative emotions, they are part of you that is the shadow. You are shown where that is in your fields, how it's connected to your template. It is a tangible structure, just like the tangible structure of your soul, your oversoul, your avatar, and everything else above it. What's bigger? The shadow might have 2/3 of your energy down here right now, but there's a huge amount of you just waiting to come in your body. If you can remember to let your mental body be the guide to that, because your mental body is either going to allow that to happen or it's going to block it. It's literally right now like a valve, the D3 ego, mind, mental body. If the ego wants to run away from scary things, what it's saying is, I won't heal my shadow. I won't face my shadow. I'm terrified of my shadow, so I'm going to let that be. You're not going to heal that way. All you're going to do is run around in circles, and right now that's not a really great way to use your energy. If we can understand the importance of the thoughts we think and the language we use. Now we use language to activate frequencies in our shields that actually have the power to change our DNA and build flame bodies. Every time we say words, every time we speak a word to ourselves, inside or outside, or to somebody else, we are activating some kind of frequency somewhere in the template. It's either going to be a frequency that is in line with the Christos frequencies and the Christos thought patterns, or it will be a frequency that is in line with the opposite. If you allow yourself the luxury of being lazy mentally and thinking and getting stuck in negative thought patterns, and sometimes it feels scary because you just feel this energy come up and it just takes you in a tailspin. That's emotional body release. But if you allow yourself that luxury of getting caught up in those tailspins, what those frequencies do, they are still frequencies you're generating. You're activating the reversed imprints. In fact, those thought patterns are like a CD in your head that comes up from those negative imprints. If you can recognize that, you can recognize you have the power by mental concentration on the stuff that's going to get you where you want to go instead of the stuff that's trying to drag you somewhere else. You have the power to even those big emotional waves that come up sometimes. And that what you're feeling when you get that horrid emotional thing where you're like bouncing off walls, you want to run for the Prozac, something like that, anything. Because sometimes, they're terrible, all sorts of yucky feelings, what's wrong? I don't know, everything. One of those type things. And those feelings are very real when they come into your body. If you can recognize they are energy. They're energy coming in on a reverse current from your template. Your mind knows now. And that's the first part of your mind being able to direct it effectively into healing. When you get those feelings, you may need to do something to calm yourself down. I mean, some people actually go to doctors and they need to, have some chemical assistance with that. We don't say don't do that. We say if you possibly can, hopefully we won't feel you need to do that. But we would never tell you not to get medical help for a medical problem, nor if you felt you needed, help dealing with the emotional issues. But do recognize that when you go to people who don't know this information and ask them to help you with symptoms of something, they're helping you blind. They don't know about DNA activation. They don't know about templates or about what chemicals actually affect the templates, what they're doing. So it's worth developing self-reliance whenever possible. But don't either be afraid to get assistance if you get scared or if the fear starts coming up and overwhelms you. But the thing is, you have the power to take that energy of fear and transmute it into energy of empowerment. And you'll be able to recognize all of the things that came up that have an imprint. It's like, I'm afraid of this, oh, this makes me feel, all these things that were negative for you. If you can learn to ride the wave and recognize it is a wave of energy, okay, use your breathing, all right? Slow the breathing by half. Get the energy to slow down, right? Then run a simple technique. When you get to technique 8, where you just have to do a real quick version on daily basis, just run with that. For now, you can go hide in your flame. Whatever your flame affiliation is, use your capstone flame. And sit in it and simply breathe and try to slow the breathing. Because usually when you go to say, to the point, your fields are going, your regular fields are going like this, and like, it's a real wild energy experience. You can stop that by training your mind to it. As that starts coming up on you, or somebody that is, teach them to go into the flame. If there's somebody that doesn't want to hear about this stuff, that's okay. Whatever their belief system is, tell them to go hide in, not hide, but it feels like hiding when you need to hide, like, okay, I'm safe in here, yes. Try to explain the concept of that you have this beautiful, picture it as an eternal flame of God loving you forever around you. Just picture this. Slow your breathing down. Imagine you're breathing that in. You can take it down to that simple. If you can't explain them the hard stuff, just give them the basic thing that might get them to be able to help themselves. But for you, you've done the hard stuff. You haven't run out the door and you're in this workshop and never come back. You know, you haven't cursed me in the name of Archangel Michael. I actually had somebody do that once. Yeah. By the power of the flaming blue sword of Archangel Michael, I totally denounce you from my life. You are this, you are that. Oh, okay. Whatever. I mean, you're just not going to go away after that. I want you to really stay in touch with the power that you have at every moment. There's something that we're going to be getting into it more, I think, as the programs progress. It has to do with kind of like the crash course on getting your mental body adjusted where you need it, where it's serving you and not somebody else. It's called linguistic template reprogramming. And that's where you use very specific types of words in your own language. I mean, there's also ones that are real powerful that come through in the Anahazi language and stuff. We'll be using those at a later time. We'll get the English translation, but also the real heavy, powerful stuff in the ancient original languages. But even in our own language is powerful too. It activates different shields all the time. And our languages are part reversed, but they're part forward, which is why we can use language in a way that can activate appropriate frequencies and stimulate the activation of appropriate frequencies in our templates that will allow us to shift all that goop that comes out from the shadow body and emotional body connection. Linguistic template reprogramming is the conscious use of language to actually set new codes, a new set of mathematical patterns that are thought patterns for yourself. And you say you do it not by doing math on the outside. You do it by using language to create what would be kind of like, you know how some of the New Age stuff teaches affirmations. Right? Well, they're like the watered down version of it is their affirmations actually can work. You can do a lot with basic affirmations. Why? Because they're reinforcing and activating certain patterns. If they are positive affirmations, they will begin to activate positive frequency or Christos-aligned frequency in your templates. There are some tricky ones that some of the other guys use that actually seem to be positive on the surface, but they're actually feeding reversals. You have the ability to create your own when you go into your Christos space. When you put yourself inside of your flame body, and literally just by visualizing it there, and have your Akasha seal activated and ask for the words. Let my words be thy words, talking to your Christos. Let my will be thy will. Let my hand be thy hand. Boy, did I get in trouble when I asked for that one. That's when books started to come through, and it wasn't automatic writing either. It came through with direct cognition stuff. Okay, and I try to keep up with it writing. You can ask your Christos to assist you in this way by mentally giving that directive. Your Christos wants to assist you in this process. So you can create affirmation grids. That's not just like a three-liner that you repeat once in a while and it makes you feel better. If you can, if you're having one of those like traumatic moments where the whole world feels like it's crashing in on you and the emotional wave is coming up and flattening you from the shadow, you can simply, I am peace, I am peace, I am peace, I am peace, I am in a safe universe now. Get forceful with yourself. Because every time you say that affirmation, even though the other parts are going, not so, that's not true, I'm terrified, right? The other parts are arguing with you, the shadows are arguing with you. You have to realize that the shadow is experiencing it and trying to make you experience it by its own ideas. But the more you reinforce those words, literally the words with a kick behind them, even if you have to force yourself sometimes, who's going to control this brain? You're my shadow. Can I stop that CD in my head, please? The way to stop it is to create a stronger CD. Which means you're going to consciously choose what words you want to put in. If your shadow's telling you this way and it's a negative, come up with the opposite. And literally put in the opposite. And when a thing and its opposite hit, they transmute. So you can literally use language, creation of your own affirmative grids. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself what you want yourself to feel. And you will actually be able to live that experience, but you need to reinforce it until that pattern of energy gets as strong as the one that's coming up from the shadow. When you're working with Christos frequencies, you now have the ability to override that 2/3 energy the shadow has. You got lots. You got infinite energy now. When you're working with the Christos frequencies, you're connected to indefinite supply. It will keep coming when you ask for it. And the more you ask for it, the more you have to give, and then leave a space inside, the less more to come. You do have the ability. One of the, I think that we handed out, there was 2 small programming grids, linguistic template reprogramming grids, that are very, very useful, particularly, they actually work after Technique 8, but before, we're in that 4 to 6 week period before you can work with Technique 8 and the decoding process and things I'll talk about in a minute. Using the shadow healing one, the one that's on top, I thought, you've got them singly. The Shadow Healing Linguistic Template Reprogramming Power Grid. That is an extremely powerful affirmative grid, and it's an extremely powerful mathematical program. It activates huge amounts of Christos frequency to literally, you're commanding the shadow dancer to go back where you came from. I do it with love, but you're going to dance without me now. All right? I wish you love, but you will not do this to me anymore, and I will take my shadow home and heal it. And really, this is what this grid says. I'll read it to you quick, because there's a rhythm, a little of a rhythm to it. You don't have to sing this one. There's no melody you have to learn. But if anybody puts it to music and wants to do it that way, they can, because some people like to do that. Music is very powerful too. You can put affirmation grids to music, or you can use. I used to rewrite the words to songs I liked, and like teach myself the words that were giving good suggestion to myself, and sing it whenever it would come on the radio. And I just substitute my words for it. And it used to be great. I could edit out stuff that wasn't healthy for my brain in the songs just by ignoring it and put it, and singing along with it and putting my words in. There's a lot of things you can do with the tools you have right here. The biggest tool you have is your three-dimensional mind. And that's one of the things that the other ones are going to teach you isn't important. It's just your ego. Oh, it'll all heal and go away once you ascend. Yeah, sure it will. A lot of other things will too, like your soul, your soul body and that kind of stuff. So, anyway, there's a neat little rhythm to this. It's kind of corny, but I think it says, try to feel the frequency behind this. I'll say it once. I'd like to feel it, I'll say it through once. I'd like to feel it, if you guys would say it back with me, once I kind of get the rhythm in it, just to feel what the frequency feels like. Because it's a whole frequency grid. It's almost like, well, it is, in fact. You know how we said symbols? When we look at the symbols, we're actually looking at the mathematical programs that go with the shields. Well, what we're doing here is putting in a mathematical program that's compatible with the Christos template. It's positive affirmation. It's positive thinking taken to a much higher level. Just try to feel the frequency that's under it, not just the words, but hear the words too. It says, Inner Christos, here within me, I appeal to you this day. Shelter me from hidden forces cloaked in time. I stand with you in safety, looking toward my lowly traces, setting free from shadow dancers, that shadow self that's mine. I stand now in my Christos light and hear the one true sound of my pure identity. And there you can pause for a minute to see if you can hear a tone. Because your shield, all the coding in your shield, every one of us has a little bit different tone. And there's one single tone, it's the combination of all the tones. And sometimes you can get to hear it. It's your more than your soul song. It's your Christos avatar higher up Rishi level being song. And it's usually one note, and then you'll find two smaller notes within it. But this is what that line means. We say, and hear the one true sound of my pure identity. I open now my inner ears to hear the one true tone of the true eternal Christos self that I shall always be. I am my inner Christos now. So give yourself just a little bit of time when you try to hear that tone. When you hear it, I am my Christos now. Know that is you talking to yourself in the ancient God language of direct sound. Now, as my inner Christos, I confront the hidden darkness to free my shadow self from shadow dancer ties. You ancient shadow dancers, like thieves within the night, dark dwellers on the threshold to eternal life. Imprisoned long, my shadow self, cast me in mortal prison. No more will you consume my living light. I now embrace my shadow self, reclaim the joy and freedom that awaits me through the door to the divine. I stand firm now and command the power that is mine. And here is where there's a real frequency kick under this card. I command thee, shadow dancer, dark dweller, you retreat. And you need to put the feeling behind it. I command thee, shadow dancer, dark dweller, you retreat. To the bowels of creation you have made it now call home. With my inner Christos power, I lovingly release you. Now, always, and forever, without me you will roam. You need to be firm with him. I take back from thee this moment and every moment after. Any power you have stolen here, or that I have given thee, dark dweller, you shall leave me now, or with me be made done through the eternal inner Christos light of the golden silver one. And in other words, I'm going to be running frequencies now that if you don't detach from me, you're going to be burned. It's going to put you, you're going to ascend like instantly. You're going to do that thing that the black hole's going to do if the red pulse hits it. So in other words, I'm telling you nice before I'm going to heal me now. And if you don't let go, this frequency will hurt you. Yeah, so you're actually honoring their being by, telling them to go away, but you could just like run it and say, zap, and I'm going to try to fry you, which wouldn't be a Christos thing to do. Vengeance is not a Christos attitude. Okay, and you, dear shadow self, come now and walk with me through the inner Christos doorway, where we shall heal and be set free. And here's the actual, this is the real grid that you're setting. These were the frequencies that built the bridge to the grid, and this is the grid. No dweller shall imprison here. False gods shan't stand before me. No longer shall I fear deceptive trickery. The truth and clarity of my inner Christos knowing shines forth and lights my way in my journey to be free. I am my inner Christos, here now, forever, always. I embrace and heal with loving power the long forgotten me. That ancient hostage, shadow self, the face of ancient burdens, so long confined to twilight worlds, come now, let us be free. Return now resurrected from the dark nights of the soul, and join the inner Christos song of joyous victory. There's a real power frequency under that. It contains love, it contains strength, it contains forgiveness. There is a whole host of emotional frequencies that are contained within those words. So, if there's anything in the words you don't like, don't use them. But the grid is to assist you in achieving this healing for yourself with that attitude that is not vengeful, not angry, not fearful. It has nothing against those who have caused harm, because you realize there's a sickness in them that could allow them to act that way in the first place. It isn't the sickness. We can heal. At a certain point, the healing has to come through Source itself, which means it will go back to its original units of consciousness. That is their healing. Just like for some people here, the body is so full of toxins and things that it doesn't have the power to heal the body. The soul can still be okay, but it doesn't have the power to heal the body, and the healing is actually letting the body go. So it's kind of a bigger version of that that's taking place with the black hole system, and they do have 2 billion years left to play war games with each other, or peace games if they'd like to. So that affirmation grid, I don't know. Do you want to do it back just to see what the grid frequency feels like? Yeah. Okay, because I don't want to make you go through but all right. We probably should close the doors for this. We'll be blasting the lobby out there. So there's those Azarites again. We were pretty quiet this time. We didn't do too much like toning and spinning or anything like that, like you do in the dance floor classes. You get some really weird looks by people who are just in the hotel that aren't a part of the group. Who are they? Even on the boat in the Bermuda trip, they were picking on us. We had to be confined to the spaces we rented. We weren't allowed to sing or twirl anyplace else. They were hosting some of the group, it wasn't a group thing. It was just, some people were doing, like they were over in the corner there, and it was bugging the management. So it was, never mind. What's nice about the programs is the dance floor programs are now going into internalizing all of this. Once you've learned to set the pattern from the outside, the first work we've done, we actually hardly made a sound, but we did a salutation, we built a Surya pillar, and we ran the tones inside. We're generating enough frequency now where we can do that, which in certain situations makes it lots less embarrassing. You don't have to be like, out on the street corner of New York City doing spins and singing tones that nobody's ever heard before. To help heal the words. All right, anyway, here we go. Can you say that? Here we go. We'll do this one. We got it. You send the electricals, I'll send the magnetics. All right. And we'll say like a line, and then you can say it back. That might. No, you can actually just say it all together. You've got papers. We can do it that way. Be faster. Okay. In your Christos, here within me, I appeal to you this day. Shelter me from hidden forces cloaked in time. I stand with you in safety, looking toward my low traces, setting free from shadow dancers, the shadow self that's mine. home? All right, if you didn't hear it, okay, keep going. But you give yourself a pause, okay? I am my inner Christos now. As my inner Christos, I confront the hidden darkness to free my shadow self from shadow dancer's eyes. You ancient shadow dancers, like thieves within night, dark dwellers on the threshold to eternal life. Imprisoned long my shadow self, cast me in mortal prison. No more will you consume my living light. I am going to embrace my shadow self, reclaim the joy and freedom that awaits me through the door to the dawn. I stand firm now and command the power that is mine. I command thee, shadow dancer, dark dweller, you retreat to the bowels of creation you have made and now call home. With my inner Christos power, I lovingly release you, now, always, and forever. Without me, you will roam. I take back from thee this moment, and every moment after, any power you have stolen here, or that I have given thee. Dark dweller, you shall leave me now, or with me be made done. Through the eternal Christos light, of the golden silver one. And you, dear shadow self, come now and walk with me through the inner Christos doorway, where we shall heal and be set free. No blood shall imprison here, false gods have stand before me. No longer shall I fear suspected trickery. The truth and clarity of my inner Christos knowing shines forth and lights my way in my journey to be free. I am my inner Christos here, now, forever, always. I embrace and heal with loving power the long forgotten me. That ancient hostage shadow self, the face of ancient burdens, so long confined to twilight worlds, come now, let us be free. Return now, resurrected from the dark nights of the soul, and join the inner Christos song of joyous victory. And so it is, and shall now forever be. Traeja in the Yeah. You feel the frequency of that? Yeah. It's my girl. There's another one too that we don't have to do that with now, but it's another one that's very useful, that the I am free one, that these can be used whenever you feel like you need them, whenever you feel that emotional wave coming where the mental body's starting to run on the old CD. These are very, very powerful then. Now, the one, if you just start getting the emotional wave and that, like, you know, shadow dancers too much at the moment, you are, but you don't realize it, use the short one. It's easier, all right? And just repeat it to yourself. Out loud helps. If you're really having a bad day, you know, go put yourself somewhere quiet where nobody can hear you and repeat it out loud. If you don't have that opportunity, simply use it as a meditation. You know how some people say their prayers before they go to bed at night, or some they do in the morning when they wake up too? Use it that way. It is the most sacred type of prayer. It is saying, my Christos, the part of me that has never ever been away from God at all, the part of me that knows it's never away from God and knows I haven't been either, come and let us do this now. The daily one, I would suggest that daily is the I am free one, because I am loved, honored, and protected, safe within the eternal arms of divine grace. It's very benign. It's not taken on like, anything specific. Because I am safe, secure, and provided for by the eternal living God source and inner Christos. I am beloved, appreciated, and cherished. I am free from karma now. I am free from phantom shadow dancers. I am totally secure and at ease in my world. Remember this, all right? This is how we need to approach the drama, all right? The mass drama, whatever it turns into. I am totally secure and at ease in my world. I am no longer afraid of life's many dramas. I'm no longer afraid to love. I am love. I live in a safe, supporting, and loving universe. There is enough of everything for everyone. I give myself permission to live the life that I desire. I am at peace within. I am at peace without. I am peace. I am free to be all that is me. And so it is. It's very short. It's very simple. But those, again, every sentence you say is like every thought you think. It creates a scalar rate. This is a scalar grid that's very compatible with your Christos scalar grid that will help to shift those reversals that come up to you in words. The shadow and the dancer speak to you in words sometimes. That's when you get the mind running, the worry thing. Oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. I mean, some people don't need anything going wrong in the world to worry. Some people are just very focused into the negative. That's the reversal speaking. And it's very hard unless somebody points out to them that they have a choice and here's how to fix this. They don't really usually even know they're doing it. We're right around people that everything, they can go outside and it can be sunny. Oh, it's too hot. They can go outside and it's cool and they say, oh, it's not hot enough. Right? No matter what it is, nothing is ever good enough to satisfy them. This is one of the things that the shadow body program does. And it's put there on purpose to keep us running around in circles. We have a choice. And using affirmation grids, these are just two examples. There will be some at some point that are given to us that are extremely powerful from the avatar level that use the ancient Anahazi language, which is the blue flame language that all of the other languages came out of. And they're just, we do the song of Lyra is in the Anahazi language. And boy, does that activate shield stuff. But right now, just using our own language, because we're trying to get our lower frequency parts of ourselves, the parts of density 1, ready to receive that higher stuff. So we start here. We need to heal the mental body. And that's strand 3 that we're clearing as we do this. Because the mental body stuff that runs amok is strand 3 distortion. It's coming from reversals into power strand 3, from the 3rd level. Strand 2, the emotional stuff that goes with it. All right? And there's chemical realities in the body on strand 1 that start to happen. This is why when people, how psychology is like fighting all these things now, like bipolar disorder, because the brain chemicals are out of whack. People get really polarized. The brain chemicals out of whack are the symptom of the reversal. They're treating them as if they're the cause, but it's not the brain chemicals that are the cause of the personality flipping all over the place, or the emotional body flipping all over the place. The cause is the reversals of the template. That creates chemical change in the body through those connections that we saw when we talked about the atoms and how they're connected into the shields and the DNA template and all of that. So literally, these type of things can assist. If you've gone to a doctor and somebody that has been diagnosed with chemical bipolar disorder or something like that, okay, let the doctor have his opinion and work with the doctor while you feel you need it. However, you can also work with such a person with grids like these that begin to heal the cause. The doctor doesn't have to agree. All you're giving them is some words on paper that are like positive thinking, right? If you can get people, or if it's yourself, to use this type of prescription for healing, it will work with whatever the doctor's trying to do to help you chemically, and you will balance your chemicals. You can change the chemical components in your body by what you tell yourself. You can tell your body to heal or to get sick, depending on what words you use. Because you are manifesting through the template with a lot of help from the shadow. So I just wanted you to know, before you leave tonight with all this wild new information that you probably never imagined you might get at this workshop, some of you people especially, I might never imagine I'd be delivering this type of material anytime in the next century either. But if you remember that right there, that consciousness that's sitting in your head, that you know is you, has the power right here to direct these massive amounts of God energy that are you up there. You can either invite your avatar to be with you, or you can let your mental body shut out that level of safety, that level of frequency, that level of cognition. And once you see it, there's a choice. Once you realize it's a choice, it's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want to have their whole self in? Who wouldn't want to have the ability to walk through whatever it is and know you're okay? And not only are you okay, but you can hold enough frequency that you will be like a wave that walks through a room, or a restaurant, or a city, or your workplace, or a country, if you build the flame big enough, where you can walk through and literally anything that has any Christos left in it, you will energize to get the same type of protection. When we activate the flame bodies, and they fully kick in, which takes a while for the full activations to kick in, but when we work with this, we become eventually walking portals. And if we're not being busy being portals, where we can pop in and out of things, we're actually transmitted the frequency. We are walking stargates that are beaming the Christos frequency to everything around us. Sometimes the only thing you need to do is just show up. Because there's lots of people we'd like to help and like to fix it for them, and we might not be able to to do anything or say anything. And then, if you give them a Voyager's book, they may hit you with it. Let them be in the space they are if they're not receptive. But just know by your very presence that their avatar, their Christos avatar level, the part that didn't fall, is very well aware that you're there. And if there's anything it can do for them, it will use your field to just throw a spark down so it can reach its own. So just by being there and just showing up, you can help heal planetary grids, you can help heal other people, plants, animals, even insects, all those kinds of things. Sometimes just saying nothing and just being there is all that's required. And there's going to be more and more times like that. As this polarity, there's going to be a polarity wave that's moving through the consciousness of this planet as these shields separate. It's already begun to. It will be part of the natural thing. But this is going to be much more amplified. And when that happens, it will feel sad sometimes on the 3D level. Because there's people you wish you could reach, but they just don't want to hear it. And you just know that if you try to talk to them about it, we're not here to force ideas on people. If they're just not receptive, there's a reason for it. Some people that have the reversals to the point where they're monadically reversed, if they have 30% or less of the divine blueprint left, they have no receivers to this information whatsoever. They don't want to know, and they will resent you and probably be mean to you, at least in their field, for even bothering them. They're on their path, they will call you evil, they'll call you the Antichrist, they'll call you whatever they need to get you away from them. Your frequency will freak them out. Alright? You'll find this kind of reaction with some. However, a lot of that can be modulated by simply holding the knowledge in yourself that I allow this to be okay. I allow them to be. If they're not a Michael groupie, or if they're a groupie of this or a groupie of that, and you know better by now, honor your own choice and respect that choice. And don't let them try to convince you. However, you're not here to convert them. We're not doing, I won't name names of religions, but we're not doing door knocking and trying to convert recruits. We don't need to. All we're doing is sharing truth, and anybody that has ears to hear it, let them hear it. The hearing is in the frequency. And really, that's the best way to keep your life peaceful. Hold love toward them. If you feel somebody might be a little receptive to a little part, give them a little part. You don't have to tell them the whole big piece. Just give them a little part that they might be able to use to help themselves somehow. But you might not know how that somehow is. If there's somebody that's going to fall, but what they're connected to wants them to have this little bit of information while they go, maybe they'll start to spread something that they can possibly remember little pieces of over there that will help the 2 billion years of evolution they have left to not be so hostile and worrying with each other. So it's like there's a surrender involved of everything except your own self and your own power. You surrender what you think might be the right thing for other people because you can't tell from this level. You really can't. You just need to love them. And to love yourself enough to not let them jerk you around, because some will try, particularly when the dancer wave comes in after May 22nd. You'll find people that are your best buddies sometimes that you might not have realized were not exactly who you thought they were, but if you look back, you'll probably see little instances where certain behaviors were actually characteristic of the dancer. You'll just see more of the dancer. Sometimes the easiest way to love is at a distance. If that love that's, and a lot of times will be lip service love, too. Oh, I love you, how can you do this to me? You have to believe this. No, I don't. I love you, and you can believe that if you want to. But I can believe this if I want to, too. You need to sidestep those games of manipulation, because there'll be a lot of those that will be thrown your way. There's always those tests. And actually, your own Christos self will allow that. Will actually draw it to you if you have any doubt at all that you have a Christos. It will test you. You will test yourself to find out if you know how to hold your power yet. Is this what I really believe? Am I standing in my power with it, or aren't I? Am I letting somebody that says they love me, and I know they probably do, drag me somewhere I don't want to be? Am I really going to go to that workshop over there that I know better to go to now myself? Or am I really going to go into that church for that particular dogma? Just because they want me to be there and because I used to go with them? You'll have to make those decisions. Sometimes you can say, sure, I'll go. And I'll have to make my flame out really strong. So if there's anybody there at all that can pick up the flame activation, I'll sit right there with them, and they can do their prayers and stuff, and I'll do my tongues in my head. And, there are ways to be sociable with this, even though you're carrying an idea pattern that is not going to be popular with people who are being messed with, which is a huge amount of the population. So positive is important. Choosing positive is important. Positive is a choice. Positive doesn't mean pretending negative doesn't exist. It means having absolute fearlessness inside because you know, even if you can't explain it to yourself quite yet, that you have this huge, always eternal connection to God, and that will always wrap its arms around you. It's as close as this, it's as close as this. Don't forget that when it gets weird. Touch God, let God touch you. It's right here, it's right here, it's everywhere. If you can carry that, this whole drama won't feel so overpowering. In fact, after a while, it's like, oh yeah, like I'll deal with that when I have to. Like, you know, I'm on call, okay, if there's anything we have to go run the grids through, you know, fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go to a movie tonight. You know, I think I went to the Chinese restaurant because I really wanted to do Chinese food tonight. You can have a life. You don't have to spend every hour of your day worrying about your flame body and worrying about who's gonna fall and who's gonna rise and all that stuff. Turn it off sometimes. Literally, shut it off. Say, I know that's there. Is there anything right now that I need to do about this for myself? You know, I got my shield up, got my phone. I'm all right. Let's go have fun. You know, or let's concentrate on work. Like, you're still allowed to like go to work and make money and pay your rent. And like, if you want a new car, go for it. Some of the stuff we can take with us to the bridge zone. I'm serious. It's the other guys that are preparing to leave everything behind because it's not going to make it through the black hole transition. But we get a chance to take grids with our houses on them and those kind of things. It might not be the grid your house on right now, so you might get inspired to move. What? That's a cat. Yes, your cats can often come too, and dogs, and you know, friends, and you might be surprised at some of the least awake people you know that are some of your favorite people in your family, but they drive you absolutely insane because they're like into this dogma or into that dogma or don't want to hear anything about anybody's dogma. You might be surprised who ends up in the bridge zone because you don't know who they are up there. They might be on the slow wake-up thing. They might be there just to stay asleep and get through with you, just to drive you nuts, to test your power, because you wanted them to, right? Because you wanted them to razz you, and like, oh yeah, you know, you should be doing it this way. No, I shouldn't, you know, so you could learn how to stay in your power. So there's stuff going on behind the scenes that you cannot call this stuff just on surface level. If you realize that, it's not so heavy and hard to carry. And after a while, there's a peace that comes, and even though you know the seriousness of it, and you can feel the emotions of compassion for those who are going in ways you wouldn't want to go yourself, there's also a giddiness that comes with this. I get myself back in body. I get to bed out of hand because I forgot for so long. Oh, this is exciting. I might be able to go to a Stargate. Maybe I can take my house with me. Oh, cool. You know, I'm going to Jaguar. You know, what about my Mercedes? No, we don't have one of those, I'm just saying. There's so much to look forward to. We're getting the crash course in the freedom teachings, but they are the freedom teachings. That means sometimes there's some work that needs to be done, but there is so much joy in getting the power of being able to progressively learn how to create consciously the type of hologram we want to walk and share with each other. And that's what we're really looking forward to. On the other end of an ending of a cycle, there's a new beginning. And that's what we're facing, is the new beginning. If we can focus on that. Sometimes I used to go through, it used to be for workshops actually, I'd be so tired from the one before, and we give a lot of energy when we do this, and there's a lot of preparation work if it's new stuff coming through. I really don't want to do that workshop. You know, it's like, I remember once my son was going to come to visit, like a day or second day after a big workshop had to be done. I'm crawling through that week, and, oh Lord, 2 more days till the workshop, and everything, all right. I'll focus on my son's visit, right? Which means if I focus my energy there, it just like moves through that. That's done already. If we can kind of do that here, be aware when you do, when you show up, and you be fully present when you're there, and do what you need to when you're there. But keep that motivation of, all right, this is what I'm aiming for. This is the event I'm anchoring on the other side of this that gets you through it, whatever it is. If we kind of do that in the face of all of this, we'll be fine. There's going to be something that we're going to be asked to do. I don't know what it is yet. It's just some kind of meditation for helping to anchor the frequencies of the arcs. You can participate or not. Nobody's going to be mad at you if you don't. There's not like Yanni up there checking, all right, who's going to help with the planetary work and who isn't. You know, put those on the first gate list, right? Going back of the line. You know? No, it's really between you and your Christos self. whether you want to participate when there's activities for, for herd work and for group work like that. But I think, let's see, I know there's probably a question and answer time that absolutely has to be done, isn't there? I've read these. Because sometimes the questions require going off into subjects that require answers that take 20 minutes apiece, and it can become a nightmare for everyone. I think to do question and answer, to use that point, I know how to thank you. See, the one thing I want to do before we leave, too, is the Song of Kamalo Hati. Right? And I was thinking of doing that like as the closing thing, but Maha just said, do that first, and then do it short, like maybe, we're going to have to limit the number of questions just in case there's a lot, like 5 or 6 questions, and if they're directly pertinent to what we were talking about here, because if they're not, we're going to be in here forever, and some people I know that need to leave. So we'll do the Song of Kamalo Hati, and that will help to activate frequencies in the shields. So maybe the question like, oh, I didn't ask that. Yeah, okay, I think I did that. Or I remember that was in the book. Or something like that, right? Where it may change the need for the questions in the same way. So I think perhaps we have time. Oh, one thing I want to mention quick. In your books you have Technique 8. That 4 to 6 weeks after this event, you can work that on your own. The easiest way is to read it onto a tape. We don't have it recorded yet. We're in the process of putting it on CD, but we just don't have them done yet because it's new stuff. And Technique 8, it gives you instructions right there. You would use it 1 time per week, the long version, and then just every day. There's a real quick part 2 to it. That's just, you do that like every day, a real quick version. And that will keep the flame body activated. And then you can also do technique 13 and 14, which are the shadow decording techniques, and the shadow dancer decording technique, and the shadow body integration technique. But they need to be done with at least the short version, part 2 of technique 8. You wouldn't want to play with either of those guys, your shadow or your shadow dancer, without having amplified that flame. What you have in there is really what you need. It's kind of like you're on autopilot now. You've got the main activations. Once they settle in, you'll be able to activate those higher frequencies if you choose to, and if you want to. So I just want to explain that. There is, I think, at the back of your books, too, an explanation. If you're working the Becca Code program with the dance force, it shows you what's the most important things to use, like, and when to use them. Because there's so many techniques at this point. It's like you could spend from now until eternity doing techniques. It shows you the simple format, what's most important, and how often to do it. And it's really not bad. It's a lot easier than some of the stuff we were doing earlier. So that information is in your books. I would suggest reading through them if you haven't read through them yet. There's some really interesting little tidbits here and there, that we didn't have time to cover. And I think we'll do the song next. What song? What page is that? Oh God! Read that once on site. By the way, we do have what's called the Anahazi translation of the last chorus part of the Kamalo Ta'i song. Let's sing it. We sing a song all the way through its normal way first, and then you just sing that last thing one more time after you sing the whole thing through once in English. Good luck. Well, I think it's the last page in your book is the weird translation, like the Anahazi one. I don't even know how to sing this one yet. What's the one? Exactly. That kind of stuff. We'll get there probably. I will let you do that. You're better at this. He's better at this. It comes quicker to him. Alright. So, alright. Have you found the pages? The whole thing. Okay, so the English version of it is on page 87. It's a really pretty song, but realize this is a shield activation song. And what these songs do, they're beginning to activate the coding in your shields that would allow you to actually go up through into the temple of Kamalo Hati, which is that center space in the Eka universal gates, and you would go into the inner earth one. That would be the one between their gate 7 and 6, where their eternal flame is. You could come up through the flame of Amaraya. This is the beginning of activating those. It's also a very ancient song of history and of rebirth of the Christos beings on this planet. Okay. There's a couple of ones that like people have great ones in this room. The people who know this stuff that have the most beautiful voices. Mine's adequate, yours is good. So, yes.
What she wants to say.
Yeah, so you can hear the, yes, you too, you can sing. I'll start. Right. When we get to the Anahazi part, the last part we would sing, we'll stop the song there, and you can just pronounce it. We'll say it this time. You gotta learn how to say it before you can sing it and figure out how it fits in the same rhythm. You just hear it. In this song, the melody is actually important. So this jumble of syllables in Anahazi that I'm still tripping over my lips with, and eventually will fit in to the same rhythm as the English translation does. All right, so we'll stop there, and as we'll read those words, you can repeat after him. How's that? Better than I am. You're really good.
1, 2, 3.
Once was a night of a faraway dream. Once was a night when the candle fire burned. Once was a night when the nightingales sing. Once on this night worlds were born. Once on a day when the sun shone its brightest. Once on a day when the breezes rose high. Once on a day when the rivers flowed with sorrow. Once on this day worlds were gone. But today, in this moment, in the heat of the fire, burns a long aching dream of life returned from the fire. Oh, come near, new life reborn. Come, come, rise from the waters. Come, come, rise from the sea. Reach for heart of the lion, ringing out from the ancient lands of destiny. Once were a people pure and of innocence. Once were a people loving and free. Once were a people alive with eternal life. Once were a people the higher lay in victory. Once came a wind dark and cold from the lowly places. Once came the spawn of the dark fallen sun. Once when the rays of the demons spread suffering, once straight in the higher they were done. But today, in this moment, in the warmth of the sun, rise along, healing peoples of the gold and silver one. Oh, come here, higher they reborn. Come, come, rise from the dreamlands. Come, come, rise from memory. Reach for children of the higher lake. Candlelight awaits thee where the golden portals call. Now in a dream all the worlds that had gone away. Now in a dream looking forth to the dawn. Here in this dream reaching forth to the universe and call to the port of our home. Come, come, open the doorways. Come, come, let us be free. Here now we give our love to thee, the home and so long for sacred Anahazi.
Shadima Ita Hima Ashada Khed Hana to the
Amore, Dunathum Arehana, Eshura Kemalahati. I have the same
Leha Shadema.
Bill sings it perfectly.
Does he?
Yeah, Bill. Come on, Bill.
Okay.
I've been practicing it. Let's hope I can do it.
Will you
Let's.
speak to your fans before making a spectacle of themselves like that?
No, I didn't manage it. Sure.
I've been practicing this too, so.
Go to it, guys.
Eta le hashadema eta hema ashrabde shrezhana tu eta de amareya duneth rumara hena eshura kemelohati. So that last sentence before kemelohati is sort of fast to sort of keep the rhythm. Duneth rumara hena eshura kemelohati.
Yeah, that's close. There's a little different rhythm than that.
Arahena Eshura Durneth Rum Durneth Rum Arahena Eshura.
Yeah, they don't run in together.
Oh, they don't run
fast,
together?
though.
Okay.
No, it's like
Durneth Rum
So it's
Durneth Rum Arahena Eshura Kemelohati. Would that work?
like sacred would be Ashura. All right,
Ashura.
that would be sacred. So you got Ashura, sacred Kemelohati, Ashura Kemelohati on that
Ashura,
one. But this
Ashura.
one is still tricky.
Yeah, Durneth Rum.
Yeah, Durneth Rum Arahena. That's it.
Durneth Rum Arahena Eshura Kemelohati.
Ashura Kemelohati, Ashura Kemelohati, sacred Ashura, Ashura Kemelohati. Yeah, well, we got it once anyway. This one's gonna take some practice. Yeah, the whole song translates, you know.
It's beautiful when you see.
What? I don't want to try it again.
Come on, Bill, you only go one time. Okay.
Yeah, we'll try it, but basically you need to sound it out for yourself and remember and know. First, learn it in English so you know the melody. And when you see like a big E, it's in the front of the word. This is for the new people. Wait a minute, please. If it's in the front of a word, a capital, that can mean like, you know, it's a capital because it's in the front of a word. But if you see like a capital with another
And this
capital
de
next to
is
it, like
another
capital E
chorus.
after an H.
Yeah.
It's a long E sound, big E. It sounds like E, not a small E. All right, so that a little bit of phonetics.
Shreds how nice. Shreds.
Shreds. Step back on the top. Shreds.
Shreds.
Like shreds.
Shreds. Shreds.
Shreds. Hema.
Shreds hana to eta de.
It's a weird sound. It's very hard to make without
Shreds hana to et. Eta le hashadema. Eta
the sound
hima
doesn't quite come out right because
ashrabda de. Shreds hana to eta de amareya. Duna hana
Eshura Kemelo. Just like
It's like in the back of like the French.
Prez. So the CH is like
so it's almost a silent Z really, but
I said Prez Hana.
Yeah, that's it.
Prez Hana to Eta de Amarea. Eta le hashadema. Eta
Anyway, you want to try it one more
We'll
time?
try it one more time.
All right, we'll try it one more time. We all need practice, and eventually we'll get it right enough where we can get it on, tape and CD, so it's available just so you can hear it. Then it's easy once you hear it.
Eta le hashadema. Eta hima ashrab de Chrez hana to eta, and hold it after de amorea. So it's Chrez hana to eta de amorea. Doing the throom arahena eshura kemelohati. That's
good. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, that's that last one. That second last line is Dernethrum arehena. That's how that one goes. Dernethrum arehena. You can actually like draw a line there, so you know that you kind of stop there. Dernethrum arehena. Yeah. Ishura means sacred. Ishura Kemalohati. That's that part. I've got that part anyway. I had it all, but to do it fast, you guys will get it before we'll have time to work with it. Probably. All right. Well, I've got the last. I'll have to do it. I'll have to do it slow. That's the only way I can do it. Is like slow it down. All right, man. Eta e eta. That's how the eta e eta goes. Okay. Come, eta e eta. Okay. Now let me get this one. Le hashademe. So you're going to come again. I lost it again. It's hard to get it back. Just hold on. Eta eta. Hima ashrabde. Hima ashrabde. Let us be free. Krishna tueta. Wait, no. Krishna tueta. That one's tough. Krishna. Here now we give a vote to thee, Krishna. Wait, now. This one's going to take a while. Yeah, that's the one that gives me a real hard time. Let's see. Come on, Ma, help, please. Tuetade amorea. Tuetade. That's a fast one. All right. I got this, the middle part. Tuatade Amareya. Tuatade Amareya. That's that part. So now I got to get the first part in. Tuatade Amareya. So it's really like saying Tuatade, really fast, like Tuatade Amareya. So now this is the first part. The Kresh Hana. Here now. Tuatade Amareya. Krishna, 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 Tuatade Amareya. That's it, but I can't promise I can do it again. Krishna, no. Krishna, Krishna. Here we go again. Tuatade Amareya. Here now, Krishna, 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 Tuatade Amareya. That's it. It is. Krishna, Krishna. Yeah, here now. Krishna. If na is now. Krishna, Tuatade Amareya. Krishna, Tuatade Amareya. That's it. Now we gotta go with this one again. Donathru Marahena Ishura Kemalohati. Yeah, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going cross-eyed right here. Yeah, these are tough. I mean, I get a headache at, like, trying to fight with it, but that's it. At least somebody's got it on film. So hopefully we can pull it off that and get it, because I'll fall out of it too. I mean, I'll lose it. You can like hear it, and for 3 times you get it right. You go out the door, go to the ladies' room, come back, and it's totally gone, and you fight with it for an hour. So anyway, that's the best we can do with the Anahazi translations on it right now. But the most important part is to use, whenever you feel like it, the English version, because what that does is begin building the density 1 frequencies to activate the stuff in your shields that corresponds to the full Amalaria flame body activation. That will expedite the whole process, and it contains within it the first level of security seal codes, which means there are security seals, a force field, on those gates in the first place. This would give you passage. The more of these frequencies you build, it's not just the regular shield codes, it's activating the gate security codes, where literally you're giving, it's like somebody handing you the key to the security lock on the door that is there to prevent other things that don't belong there from going in. So it's a real trust, and they're starting us with the density 1 level, which is why it's in our home language. If your home language happens to be Spanish or French or something else, translate it for yourself and try. It'll be fun phonetically, because the melody is important. But that would work even more. You get a stronger activation in your fields if you use your home language, like your first language when you were small that you spoke. Okay, so. All righty. We'll do question and answers.
I think we're restricted to a number of questions.
We're going to have to.
It's 20 past 8.
Oh, it's 20 past 8. There's people that's going to.
What we need to do a little bit of packing tonight. So what we're doing in the morning.
That's what?
We'll have to do a little bit of packing.
Yes.
A little organised.
Yes.
Because we'll have to go.
I know. Okay.
All
right. We're going to have to limit, I think, to about 6 questions if they go like they usually do. Because it's already, well, we're trying to get out of here for 7:30. It isn't 8:30 yet, which is a really good thing. And we're really, really wrapping it up. We've done everything. We covered everything. You got all the activations. I don't think we forgot anything. It's just the questions now. So it's like people that really need to leave, you're not going to miss anything except the question and answer period. So if there's anybody that needs to, because I know there's a few people that said they had really had to leave, to get to like planes or to drive long distances or whatever by morning for 8 o'clock. So. All right, I'll brace myself. Okay, I'm just, I'll just start kind of going this way. All right, I'll just kind of move this way with the questions. Yeah.
Okay, so there are some number of regions back home who want to know, because of the work that we did in Sedona, is there any type of land work, grid work that we can do to work or assist with the portals? that we opened in Phoenix.
You ask me these types of questions all the time. You do, bless you. It's like you're the spokesperson for the whole group of them that's doing it. I would like to answer this for you and for the others. I will answer the question with a question. Do you think if there was something important that they needed you guys to do, that they would have already put that in the program and we would have let you know?
Yes.
All right. Those kind of questions. Well, what can we do over here? What can we do over here? Those questions don't belong directed to us. They belong directed to you and your own Christos, and you can get together in your group. Okay? I'm not picking on you. This is for the whole group that you're representing, I know. But really, if there was something important, we would let you know. If there's something important that, the group is being asked to do if they want to participate, we will as soon as possible get stuff out on the internet and ask people to get in touch with each other kind of thing. But if you don't see something like that coming out, you're kind of with you and your Christos, and if you're working with a group of people who want to do grid work with you and your Christos. And don't worry about doing any major grid work. The best grid work anybody can do right now is your own flame body, clearing your own shadow body. If you look at yourself as a stargate, consider yourself, you're a stargate, you got to clear. All right? So that is really the answer to that question. Okay? Sure. All right, I'm just going to sweep kind of like this way, first row, and then back this way. All right, we're just going to do this way. Okay, yep, Liz.
Can you explain a little bit more about stage 5 and 6? You said something about what happens.
Can we get stage 1 and 2 done first, please?
Holding it up together or something?
All right. She's asking a question about stage 5 and 6 of that grid separation. 6 is the big one. 6 is where there's actually you know how we have our Eros pale silver capsule around us inside of our amaranth flame? Well, picture a big universal one and then one on the planetary level too. That's going to hold the two fields that are separating up until December 12th, 2012. Now, what it's going to look like when they separate, I don't know. But there's going to be pretty much separation in the fields already. They're going to be coexisting, but there's not going to be hardly any interaction between them. I don't know what that's going to look like on the planet. So that's the answer, really, to that question. We will be given more about what each phase is going to look like. Even now, we don't know, okay, what's this thing going to look like on May 27th? We know some of it. We know the technology stuff is what's going down, but what is it going to look like, and what do we do with ourselves? That hasn't been given yet either. So, when we get closer, as soon as we get the information, we make it available to you guys as soon as possible. I mean, at this point, we'll put it on the internet or wherever, or the Keelantic Science Group, so people can get a hold of it as fast as possible. All right. 1, 2. Two more popped up. All right. Sure.
Do you think that working with crystals or technology is going to be an enhancement to this work or a detriment? Is there a way of telling that?
At some...
amplification of...
Right. Right now, unless you've had some sophisticated work with the technology, the question that was asked was working with crystals or technologies, energy technologies, would that amplify, what we're doing? The big answer is yes, but whether that would be helpful right now, the big answer is you're better off just working with yourself right now until you learn how to completely clear negative programs out of crystals, because there's major stuff happening with crystals that they're trying to activate them with the Metatronic code and stuff. And we tend to try to be as self-contained as possible. There's also, you just gave me a perfect opportunity to do something I wanted to do that was a gift brought to the group from a person in the audience. Just wanted to show you something. And Scotty, could you turn the camera over that way, please? Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Now I'll hold this up just so you see some of what is floating around out there as far as technologies go, energy technologies. This is a little doohickey device that's supposed to help bring in energies for your etheric body. It's put out by certain groups who I won't name here, but they're a very big and popular group, and there's lots and lots of followers. These Anchor, Metatronic, Sword, Current. There are a bunch of technologies. These are not the only people doing it. There are people that are handing out little symbol codes on plastic-coated cards that have some other symbols on them. There's a whole group of them working out of Italy that are coming here and doing it. There are all sorts. I sealed it already. There are all sorts of weird little thingies going on. When you go and buy crystals, or you go and buy a crystal piece of jewelry, a necklace or something, in certain areas like Sedona or places like that, These are programmed. They're purposely programmed. So right now, the best technology is as much independence as you can gain from your internal technology. You're better off working with that because you don't know who's going to send you a little zap present. And the people that are given the presents don't realize what they're doing. They don't know they're being messed with themselves. They're trying to, do something nice. The store owners that sell these crystals don't know. This is all being run behind the scenes. So the answer to that question is internal technologies whenever possible right now. There are all sorts of things that are supposed to, like zap this or use water to pull this out of your feet and all sorts of stuff. Learn Kathara healing first. All right? Then you can play with stuff if you know how to run a real strong Maharic seal and Akashic seal and get your flame bodies up. You don't have to avoid stuff, but don't put your power on it. Whenever you can put your power on the inside power, instead of transferring it to anything from an herbal supplement to a pill, sometimes you'll do that. Sometimes you'll have herbal supplements. Look at us. We smoke cigarettes to get back in our bodies. It keeps our frequency down enough so our eyes are focused in our head instead of out here. But I don't suggest smoking either. It's just something we happen to work with right now because the body was used to that for a very long time. But the technology thing is, if you can generate it internally, you're much better off. Now, if you get good at knowing, and don't overestimate. There's something that As always said was, however high level you think you're activated, cut that in half, just to be safe, right? So you don't overestimate how much you're actually running because you really want to, right? There's a difference between what you're running and what you want to be running, often. And if you get to a point where even after you do the cut it in half rule, and you still think you might be able to push enough frequency to clear crystals or something, if you feel confident that you can do this, communicate with your Christos self and ask if this is right for you. But crystals, if they're cleared, become your best friends. Their consciousness, they're a wonderful consciousness. I resonate hugely with the crystal world. I wear them. I don't particularly wear this for amplification. I wear it for company. It's like my pet crystal. Seriously, they're people. So and you can co-create with them. Another thing about technologies like that are, if you recognize, first of all, they're not a thing for you to play with. It's a person that you're supposed to ask if it would like to co-create something with you, not just say, I'm going to use this to amplify this. You're treating it as a thing, a dead object, as if it didn't have any consciousness in it. We need to learn to work with crystals if we're going to work with them, and not just crystals, energy forms of any kind. But as far as all these little doohickeys and devices that are flooding the new age market, made out of metal, pyramids hanging over your head, all sorts of wild things, I definitely do not suggest the pyramid hanging over your head, by the way. Okay? The mathematics of those are very keyed to Giza, and Giza, Stargate 4, is very keyed to the twisted part of the solar gates, among other things. So there's certain things like, why get a big clunky metal pyramid to hang over your head like some of them are, when all you need to do is, if you want a pyramid over your head, close your eyes and make one, and you will have one in energy. Except if you're running Christos frequency, at least it will be a Christos pyramid over your head. So that's my answer right now for the external technologies. As much internal as you can, and realize that most of the devices and doohickeys that are being sent out there are not being created by the Christos side, because the Christos, the true inner Christos teachings, will always teach you to use the technology in here first. There are bridging technologies, but whenever possible, use the power from inside. Okay, yes?
I think you answered my question, but I was wondering, when can we talk about the grid system on the planet, safety versus falling?
Oh, like where to run to, in other words, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just what's happening, just kind of get it over.
Good question. I knew that one was going to come up from somebody in the audience. Okay, where do we run to? What part of the grids are safe? When are we going to get those maps that show where the fall zones are and where the rise zones are, so we know where to put our bodies, right? So we know where to move our house or sell our house and get another one there. Remember the little bits I've said about we're becoming walking portals. We are the safe zones with the flame body activated. That means, yes, whether you're sitting on something that's going to fall out from under you and you're just floating up above saying, oh well. Yeah, all right, where's the next bus up? Yeah, I'm here. You will actually help to pull the grids up. Whatever one's underneath you can go. And there's always a little bit of something in everyone. It's like Swiss cheese. If you're going to try to do a map, what grids are going up and what are going on, it really looks like Swiss cheese that have a bunch of hungry mouses after it too. Up and down and up and down. Every little tiny city block would look like that. Some up, some down, some up, some down. So it's not that there's any particular place to run to. Like right now, in Sarasota, for example, the WESIDEX got a hold of the main grids there. That doesn't mean you can't live there and be safe. You can plug into the higher frequencies that are there, the parts of the grids that have still survived, which might be small, but they're still there, and you can help to energize those grids to bring them through and help the other people that are working the Christos program as well. So you can be anywhere, is what it comes down to. You don't have to run and hide any place. If it comes to run and hide because the whole thing is going to be a real mess, they'll let us know, and we've got 3 months to get organized and get, like, what are we going to do? IOUs here, Stargate Pass. I don't even want to think of what that might look like. But I don't feel any energy behind that, to be honest with you. That's what would happen if this wasn't successful. But I don't feel any energy at all behind the not successful. There's no tension, there's no kind of feeling. There's a little slim possibility that you can feel it vibrationally, that, the arcs might not anchor and wormwood might come. But it's so small compared to the energy that I can feel it. I don't know if you can, but I can feel it behind the positive probability here. So we're going to be all right, and we don't have to go running around any place. Okay, I can take a couple more questions, like 2 more. Yes?
I have a question, but I think I just answered for myself, but I just want to confirm.
Okay.
When we go to Paxos, a lot of us are going to bring our families with us. My question was whether when we are anchoring frequencies there, we can activate our flame bodies, but a lot of them will not be able to. Will they be safe to be with us?
Yeah. Yeah. Our flame bodies, particularly with the activations that are going to be, we're going to be sitting on Q Site 7, which is the point where Stargate 7 in Eka opens, and we're going to be right on it. The flame bodies are going to be the strongest anywhere, and we're going to hold a lot of that activation. People who come who don't even have flame bodies activated yet, if they have any potential in their shields at all for it to activate, that will activate them. And afterwards, being in their field, like our children and things like that, being in our fields, just the frequency we're transmitting, just by being, will actually help sustain theirs. And it's funny, people that can't activate a flame body, like the ones that are fully Metatronic, won't come on that trip. They just won't show up. It would hurt them. The frequency would actually hurt them. Nothing direct. They're not going to explode before your eyes or anything. What would happen was they would probably get sick from it later. So they'll just be guided not to be there, frequency-wise. It'll be like a frequency buffer where they just don't want to go on that trip, that kind of thing. So does that answer the question? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes?
Further about the technology, I have a radionics machine, and at one point I put the Akasha symbol in the witness area.
Okay.
I was wondering, but I was getting afraid that I would give myself too much energy. Is that something that I can do safely, or would you recommend against it?
I would recommend using the Cathara technologies and combine it. You'd be creative and combine it with the Vekas and run it yourself, like your own current, without giving yourself the outside zap that radionics can give you. You can play with that. There are ways. They're going to be talking to us about technologies like that once we go to England, because there's certain experiments they're going to have us do to show certain cause and effect things. You can use radionics, and working with the Akasha is a good thing to do, but I'm getting guidance now. This isn't a good time to do that. All right, you'd be much better using just running your own frequencies and amplifying with the Vekas, or if you're going to transmit it to someone else, you can transmit the Vekas. I mean, there's sometimes when we rub each other's back and stuff because we're falling apart because there's so much frequency running, I'll find little akashas popping out my fingertips, like little flames on my fingertips and out the palm chakra. You can start working with that. There's something now that it's too detailed to go into. He's saying there's a whole block of information that has to do with what we're going to be working with. Has to do with working with currents and things here as they exist, like electrical currents and all that kind of stuff. Radionics has a lot of potential, is what they're saying. But right now there's certain things that would be better not to use a lot of that until there's another level of the technology given that will show how to use it well, because it can be also serve as, all right, I'm not saying this now, it can also serve as a doorway where the fire sword can run. So you need to be real careful, and there's certain things we need to know that none of us know about right now to actually make that a safe practice. So he's really advising this, not a bad thing to do, but not right now.
Is there technique 9, 10, 11, 12?
The numbering on the techniques were from the Bermuda course, actually. So we just stayed with them so we didn't drive everybody insane and call the same technique by a different number. Now, 9 was actually combining the Song of Lyra that we did yesterday, that you did yesterday, right? The Maharata Kumbhai song with the Kemalohate song. And it was called the Love Song. All right, the Christos Love Song. And you put them both together, where you just sing the Song of Lyra, then the Kemalohati, and then the Lyra again. And it sets a certain patterning, in your shields of activation. 10 was a direct contact exercise that we did on premises. So that you're not missing techniques in your books. It's just the numbers aren't there because they weren't techniques that applied to this workshop. So they're from, because the numbering is from the Bermuda trip sequence. Oh yeah, and 11 and 12, the quiz, and then the working with the flame body and the tones that go with the mano, mane, and ire. That was 11 and 12 as far as the trip goes. And you have 13, you have 14, and 15 is in there, which wasn't really about this class, but I figured if you want to talk to guardians, that the beginning contact technique is in there as well. Yes?
What's for dinner?
Good question. Okay, well, I haven't taken any from this side of the room, so I've got to take a couple from over here. I think I have to go like one or something. Yes?
I'm reminding you that last Friday, you said that you would talk to us briefly off camera about other teachers and their focus. And I'm particularly interested to hear about David Icke and Bill Willow.
I will answer your question this way about the ladder. The ladder is, do you remember what I was saying up there about the seed of artificial life? What does the person that you named before teach about? No, the ladder person, the second one. Yes, think about, if you know anything about their teachings, look at what they're teaching, what they're calling seeds of life and things. You'll answer your question. Okay? See, I won't do name calling. The other person, bless him, he's an indigo doing his own thing, and I won't get into that one either. Let's just say I wouldn't worry too much about whether or not the people who run England are reptiles. We've got bigger problems on our hands. Okay? In answer to the David Icke question. He's a man with a conviction. That I know, and I respect anybody who has a conviction. Doesn't mean it's one I agree with, but anyway. Okay, and as far as the question of answering it, doing a who's who, I want to be able to help, and it's almost like, well, at least we get to run now, right? We're getting out of America so we can go and it's like if you're going to say it, now's the time, right? But I'm still getting the feeling that that's not going to help you. It may help you on the surface by saying, oh, well, this one's doing this and this one's doing this. Look at it this way. You seen anybody else teaching Maharic Seal or this kind of stuff? Have you seen any of this history revealed anywhere else? How many people are telling you to worship a cross or a guy who died on it? Look at what's being taught. These things are the indicative things that show you which drama is being represented. All right? Look at the churches. I mean, bless them all. The people that go to them think they're doing the right thing. And maybe for them they are. We don't know who they are that are going to churches. We know we share a planet with them. They might even be family, some of them. But I'm not going to do a name and name session. I decided that that's not going to help. I said I might reveal some things off camera, but I've really decided that would do you a disservice because it's saying you have to get that from us. You don't have to get that from us. You can learn how to tell. If you pay attention to some of the things we've taught, you've seen the sign of the beast. I mean, what does that flaming blue sword look like? Guess what the sign of the beast is? Everybody's looking for people with 666 tattooed on their forehead. Yeah, okay. Anyway, all right.
Just last summer, my dad has passed on. How can I help him? He was such an awesome guy, never thought he will go.
Right. Well, that's a good question. If someone has passed on or they're going to pass on, they're close to their death transition, how do you help? How do you help them get safe? You talk, first of all, you can have a communication from your avatar level to their avatar level. All right? You say, first you have to realize, whatever happens to the middle part of the identity, the Christos avatar level isn't fallen. It's still there. Even when the one's in the black hole, they can never connect to theirs again, but at least they've got it, right? You can talk to that part of the identity, and you can say, I love this person dearly. Is there anything I can do? Is a person in need of my assistance on any level? And wait just for the feeling. Sometimes you'll actually get a direct answer. It will come through your Christos self. Your Christos avatar talks to that avatar. The avatar communicates back, and your Christos self talks to you. You don't let anything into your field to talk to you like that, right? You will get the guidance with this. There's a lot of people that are concerned, like, oh gosh, people are getting stuck over in Phantom, and they're going to fall and stuff when they die. There is, by the way, a huge exodus happening. There's a whole bunch of host matrices being done for the people who have been stuck as ghosts and things here, where they have part of themselves still here, which implies they still have some of their divine blueprint left. But they have the shadow body that's getting dragged down. There's huge levels of host matricing going on that they're going to get them out through this. But it's something we can't fix from this level. It has to be handled from the the higher levels, and it is being. So we don't have to worry too much about dead people. They're safer now than they have been in ages. All right? Yes. Yes. Send love on a pale silver liquid light current with a real kick behind it. And then put some beautiful emerald green Amareya frequency with it as well. That's a good idea. Very good. Excellent. Know what you can do? If there's somebody you're worried about, dead, alive, or in between, visualize them in the Akasha teardrop with the flame body around them. And send that to their avatar, and then bring it back down and send it toward them. And their avatar will decide whether it wants to do that or not. But you can put them in that protection field, and that will help a lot. Okay? Repeat. Okay. I love that. When it comes out spontaneously, I can't remember what I said 2 seconds before. All right. You put visualize, or if you can't visualize yet, that's okay. That might mean you're like running more Manu, where you're not getting the inner hearing or the inner vision yet, but you're getting gut instinct, right? Direct impression. All right. Now, what you do is you intend, either visualize if you can see, if not, on the inside, just intend that you have the silver sanctum, just like you've just done in your field, and the Amareya flame, the emerald Amareya flame around it, and visualize the person in that space. And then send that intention to their avatar, which means, I'm not forcing this on you, but I'm giving this to you as a gift. Then bring it back down and gently release it toward the person, toward the energy of the person. You don't have to be physically with them. You can do it remote. You can also do it with your car and your house and your cat. They're going to start getting into this, actually, where we're taught how to bring things through with us, but that's the beginning of it. The flame body, you can even make it as easy as that. If you can't remember the silver and then the green on the outside, pick your dominant, your capstone, and put the flame body around them and send it that way. Okay? Yeah.
Monica says I'm a workaholic, but you have what we can do for the weekly, but I'd like to know for the daily. Can I still do my Beckas on opposite days?
Yeah. That's like where you don't have to overwhelm yourself. That's what that sheet in the back is. You can work with the Vekkas and the salutations more if you want. Just don't do Vekka work and flame body work on the same days. All right, because there's just too much frequency involved. Yeah, and the notes make that clear in the back. Like if you read them, they should be clear in the back. Yeah, and you can even play with some of these exercises that we've done. Some of the 7, but read the preparatory steps first. Okay, to remember, okay, I have to do number 1 if I'm going to do number whatever, and that's for that 4 to 6 week period. But after that, you don't have to do any of the other flame body ones because it'll be on autopilot, which is nice about all of this. Okay, here we go now. Bill's got a question. One more. Bill's got a question.
You had mentioned before that we had excess population here on the planet.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on a little about how many, well, not how many, but you seem to imply that there were a good number who were not human, that they were sort of like, not far out really, but not that necessarily important to be saved, so to speak.
Well, the way that was phrased, I'd have to dance around that one. Everybody's worth being saved, by the way, in one way or another. It's just what they consider saving is different than what we consider saving. As far as the amount of people on the planet, that I had made the comment that there are many more people on this planet than were ever intended to be. That is true. What is happening at this point is the people that are coded to the planetary grids are going to be the ones that go with it. And that includes the animals and the plants and the ants and things. Whatever was naturally part of Earth's template will remain and go in the bridge zone. But the things that were inorganic here will actually, through being separated, go to wherever they came from. All right? Yeah. And there are the things that are stuck between 31 and 51%. All right, part divine blueprint, but not enough to go up and, too much to fall. When that separation comes through, the part that has divine blueprint will go to the bridge zone, and the other part will go wherever it came from. But ideally, if the thing is going to lose its body and drop its body here, once it gets out, it will go back to its home matrix. That's what it's about. So just like we are, we're getting the bridge zone in so we can take the matter bodies with us, or like the planet matter body with us. I think that answers that. I think I need to stop questions at this point. You guys have been wonderful. That means we love you all. With great respect. And this Christmas, when you sing those Christmas carols, don't forget a little town of Bethlehem. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being with us. And for the new guys, thank you for not being scared. Thank you for staying long enough to listen and learn. And I hope you stick with us. Whatever you choose, you are loved. And we all go home somewhere or another. We just like to go home the easier way, where it feels better. So, yeah. Bye. Guys, inside.